Watch the Mysteries of Existence channel for divine enlightenment. To know more about yourself, the physical and subtle aspects of the universe, and the source of all that is.
This is a message brought to you by the Harbinger of the Last Covenant, His Grace, Iyke Uzorma, author, Archbishop, University Chancellor, scholar in extraterrestrial research, professor of Christian education at St. Thomas-A-Backet University, England, recipient of Nelson Mandela Excellent Leadership Award in Africa, former living Grand Master in the Order of Terrestrial and Astral Hierarchy, amongst others.
Dear listeners, this is the interlude session 22 in this Mysteries of Existence channel, titled, Life After Death Experiences, Part 9. It is a great exposition of the Harbinger of the Last Covenant, His Grace, Iyke Uzorma, for every human on earth, which is read here as follows. Earthman, until a fish enters a hot pot of soup, it will not believe that there are different types of water in the world of man. It is said that one who is able to run away from one's own shadow can communicate with the dead. Let the Earthman, who will surely pass through the chambers of death someday, use his sleep and dream states to recognize the art of death in advance. Behold, whether the Earthman dies today or dies tomorrow, he will certainly die someday. Let the living bear this in mind. Therefore, let the man alive in the world of man also prepare in goodness for his hour of departure, which is death. Let no one be afraid to depart, for whoever dies, especially in the mode of goodness, will rejoice in the advantages thereof. Earthman, your earth life is not spent in vain, provided that you know how to die well in the mode of goodness, through your thoughts, words, and actions. And even if you know not, fulfillment will still be enacted, either for your rise or fall within a period of time of the afterlife experiences, brought about by you and you alone. Children of men, your physical birth is not in vain, because it has a mission. Your physical death or departure in goodness is a call to divine glory, because it occurred as it should. Whosoever dies in the mode of goodness when he should, when his earthly mission is fully fulfilled, when nothing else is left for him to do on earth than to die, is blessed amongst men. Blessed is the one whose sins and iniquities on earth die in him, whose sins and iniquities depart and fade away from him, before his physical death. Unto such a soul is opened the gates of benevolence in heaven. Behold, some of you whose works are unfinished amongst men, before the hour of your emergency exit or death, could physically live again amongst your fellow humans in a different location, till what is to be done is done. A good human in this connection will spread goodness, but a wicked human who died but still lives elsewhere will spread more wickedness. To die and still live physically somewhere else, is a portion in the mysteries of existence. It is not common, but it does occur. When it occurs, what is to be done will be done. In this connection, what is to be done may or may not be physically known to you. Again, your central predominant mission may or may not be physically known to you either. However, the monitors, the angelic guardians of the path of death, are very much aware of your mission, what is to be done and when it is done. I am speaking with regards to the occurrences of emergency exit, when a particular mission is not physically done with before death. To this end, the monitors make the necessary arrangements for the physical appearance and final disappearance of a dead person, who is physically alive elsewhere and seen by others, in the terms of the children of men. Now, talking about the mission to be fulfilled in a particular human existence, this may be insignificant to you in your current existence, but it is very significant in the divine terms for the purpose of your birth. I am speaking here in the terms of the hidden region from whence you came to the physical realm of earth. You may have multiple missions for a single Earth life, but all within the coordination of one prime mission. You may have one mission in a particular Earth life. Emergency exit means that one dies without the earthly fulfillment of his mission. This occurs occasionally. Now, emergency exit is connected with a sudden death, but not all sudden deaths are emergency exit. There are many factors responsible for emergency exit and sudden death, and discussing them will form volumes of materials, which I won't go into in these interlude sessions. However, suffice it to say that, under certain conditions, the vicious astral entities can cause a sudden death to the Earthman. Also, an intense fear of death, amongst other things, can bring about a sudden death to the Earthman. Under certain conditions, determined by the angelic monitors, one who passed through an emergency exit of a sudden death can be reverted back to still live physically elsewhere in fulfillment of an unfinished assignment. Great souls on earth, there are more than the eyes can see. You are already aware that there are great religions on earth. They may be doing some good jobs in trying to explain the true nature of reality, related to what happens to the Earthman in the life after death experiences. However, the earthly religions should never insist that their explanations in this regard are final, in which nothing else can be known other than what they say. No religious doctrines on earth can contain the multitudinous expressions and experiences of souls, here or hereafter. When we talk about some people who died somewhere, but physically still living elsewhere in our world, it is part of the reality in the life after death experiences. In reality, this truly happens. However, it occurs as a primary function of consciousness at a stage, especially in an emergency exit or sudden death of some Earthmen. I am a direct witness to this, whilst some children of men may have witnessed same in different parts of the world. This happens in reality, whether or not it is permitted to happen in the framework of our organized religions and belief systems. No matter whatever our beliefs are, we should always be aware that what we don't know is bigger than us. Earthmen, the human consciousness, which survives death, which is the basis for the certainty of being, even when the physical body is gone, can't ever be held bound to the configuration of human organizations. Consciousness, by its primary nature, is both flexible and mobile. Consciousness, the basis of certainty, forms your human body structure that you know as yourself. It does this at deeper levels of reality, as a part of the mysteries of existence. The human body or fetus is formed in the womb by consciousness, from the in-between life in the sub-physical system, before physical birth. The growth of the physical body is equally a function of consciousness. Likewise, one's consciousness in the sub-physical system can form the replica of a body just discarded after physical death, via emergency exit, and use same to temporarily sojourn physically amongst other humans. The dead one will then physically live amongst the humans who are not aware of the prior death situation of the individual involved. Such a person will consequently disappear from the physical system, upon meeting with anyone who is aware of his prior physical death. When this happens, the monitors will take over and guide him into another layer of existence, including the stages involved. As already mentioned, this is happening in the world of man. Now, you may recall that, towards the end of Part 8 of the foregoing subject matter, I did say thus: a man in my neighborhood, known to me and many other people, died somewhere, but still physically lived around us. He got married and had children. His wife and children are still there today in my neighborhood. Consequently, I did promise to speak about the incident in this session. The incident mainly involved myself, a certain woman, a particular man and the man's wife. For some reasons connected with utmost respect to privacy, I won't use their real names here. However, if you come to me for a direct investigation related to the authenticity of this incident, I will ensure that you directly meet with the persons concerned. To this end, I prefer to refer to the aforementioned woman as Lady Felicia, the man as Mr. Jude, and the man's wife as Madame Rose, for the purpose of this communication. Lady Felicia is a good friend of my queen, my spouse. One morning, as I was returning from a morning walk with some of my men, I met Lady Felicia at my gate. She came to visit my queen, my spouse. While exchanging greetings with her, Mr. Jude was equally passing by, and they both also exchanged greetings. As this was going on, I got a divine signal concerning the man. Then I realized that Mr. Jude was long dead and buried elsewhere, while still living somewhere in the neighborhood. Consequently, I invited him into my residence. I made a specific anointing on him, with a silent divine decree, so that he won't vanish, till what is to be done is done. After Mr. Jude had walked away, Lady Felicia informed me that Madame Rose and her husband, Jude, live in the same street with her, that both of them are friends. Finally, I asked Lady Felicia to come to me with Madame Rose on a certain day. Mr. Jude was a successful businessman in the city and a deacon in his church. I decided to conceal the issue of his earlier death and physical existence elsewhere amongst humans, till everything is unveiled in a proper manner. When Lady Felicia and Madame Rose finally came to me, I discussed certain things with Madame Rose concerning her husband, Mr. Jude. I got to know from her that her relationship with Mr. Jude was about 20 years as at then, and they have been in marriage for 18 years. Madame Rose never met the parents of Mr. Jude or any of his relatives, including anyone from his village. It was his friends that came with him during the marriage, because he was from a different country in Africa. Mr. Jude didn't hide his nationality from Madame Rose, as well as his region, community, village, and family. However, according to Madame Rose, Mr. Jude never visited his village and never made any contact with anyone from there, including his relatives. Also, he was a good Christian from the point of view of his wife. At last I admonished Madame Rose to pay a visit to Mr. Jude's village. I told her that the overall significance of the journey will be unveiled to her there. I sponsored her journey, but I also expressed my disappointment for her getting married to a man, without knowing his people for 18 years. I told her to be strong enough to bear the outcome of her visit upon her return. Consequently, I introduced her to someone from the country of Mr. Jude, who guided her to his village and family. Now, it happened that Madame Rose finally made the journey to Mr. Jude's family. She was bamboozled by the outcome. She showed them the photos of her marriage with Mr. Jude, their current photos and the photos of their children. The family members recognized Mr. Jude as their own, but told Madame Rose that the man died in a car accident, and was buried for over 20 years ago. They showed her to his grave. All of them were completely flummoxed. 2 members of Mr. Jude's family joined Madame Rose in her journey back. They wanted to see Mr. Jude and confirm these things for themselves. They wondered about how someone who was dead and buried could still be living and married with children elsewhere. When Madame Rose finally got back, her husband, Mr. Jude, was in the bathroom. Out of anxiety and curiosity, she quickly opened the bathroom door to see him and announce her return. As soon as both of them saw each other, Mr. Jude disappeared from her, in her very eyes, whilst she fainted immediately. As the news spread out, some people in the neighborhood rushed to their house, but all were confused about the entire incident. There are certain persons like Mr. Jude, currently living on the physical realm of Earth. More clarifications along this line will be discussed in our next interlude material. That will be enough for now. A word is enough for the wise. Peace and blessings.